So yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. This is great. Hi, Tony. Good to see you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is the regular meeting of the Energy and Environmental Sustainability Commission of the City of Milpitas. Today is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. And we have the agenda up, and I would like to call this meeting to order. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, could we have a roll call?
Yes. Let's see, Commissioner Lingle, has he joined yet? I don't see him, though I was expecting him. So hopefully he'll join us soon. Commissioner Martinez?
Present.
Welcome back.
Nice to see everyone.
Commissioner Salian?
Hi.
Chair Sexton?
Here.
Great. And alternate Commissioner Hogg?
Present.
Great. And we also have our council liaison, Councilmember Chua.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Commissioners Tony and Elaine and Linda.
Oh, I see Commissioner Lingle. He's in the attendees. Can
Yay.
somebody promote him, please? Wonderful.
Hello.
Hello, Commissioner Lingle.
Sorry about that. Yep. Hi.
Okay, Chair, we are ready to seat the alternate.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's go ahead and alternate Commissioner Hogg will be seated as a voting member today. And that gives us 6, I think. No, 5. Okay.
Yes. 5. And then let me do, I guess I'll do a couple of announcements. So Commissioner Badesha did resign his seat from the commission, as did alternate Commissioner Edmana. So we do have a couple of vacancies. Also, Commissioner Shreve, who was the Milpitas Unified School District rep, retired. So we're reaching out to see if there's a different rep from the school district who will join the commission.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. And I'm looking forward to having the new commissioners identified. That will be good. Hopefully in time for Earth Day. Yay. Okay, let's take a look at the agenda for today. You've all received the agenda that was sent out on Friday. Do I hear a motion to approve today's agenda?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Salian. Do I hear a second to that motion?
I second.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hogg.
I'm sorry, was that Commissioner Hogg that seconded or Commissioner Lingle?
That was Lingle.
Oh, that
Thank
was
you.
Lingle. Thank you very much. I heard a man's deep voice, and
I
got
unmuted my microphone right at the same time, so that's
Okay.
confusing.
Oh, you guys hit your buzzers at the same time.
I did the same thing. I was involved.
Three-way tie, yay.
All right. Okay, so could we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioners, please voice your vote when I call your name to approve the agenda. So Commissioner Lingle,
Aye.
Commissioner Martinez,
Aye.
Commissioner Salian,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Hogg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes. Now we are moving on to looking at the minutes of the last official meeting, which was December 15th, 2 months ago. You've received that in the meeting packet. So do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the December 15th meeting?
Aye.
Thank you. That was Commissioner Salian. Oh, Commissioner Hogg
No.
that time. Thank you.
I think I'll raise my hand from now on. when I-
Yes, that helps a whole lot. Thank you. So Commissioner Hogg has made the motion. Do I hear a second to the motion?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Salian. And Elaine, could we have a roll call vote on that?
Yes. Sorry, Commissioner Lingle,
Aye.
Commissioner Martinez,
Aye.
Commissioner Salian,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
Commissioner Hogg.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion passes. Now we come to the public forum. Linda, do we have anyone wishing to speak at the public forum?
No, I do not see anyone.
Okay, we'll move on then to announcements. Are there any announcements at this point? Okay, then let's go on to our business items. The first one is the Milpitas On-Demand Shuttle Program. And we get a presentation. I'm very interested in this topic.
Yes. Can somebody promote both Ned and Jay, please, and then pull up the presentation? Great. Good evening, commissioners. I think your interest, as we were talking about the climate action plan and community greenhouse gas emissions inventories, you guys recognize that transportation related emissions were one of the highest components of our community greenhouse gas inventory. And you expressed a lot of interest in programs for addressing that, including programs to promote active transportation, public transportation, and first and last mile connections, and interest in the on-demand shuttle pilot program. So we are joined with us tonight with Ned Thomas, our planning director, and Jay Lee, principal planner with the planning department, who is the project manager for the on-demand shuttle pilot program. So they are both here to provide an overview of the pilot project and answer any questions. With that, I will turn it over to Ned and Jay.
Thank you, Elaine. I'll just make a really quick introduction and then turn the time over to Jay. My name is Ned Thomas, and I serve as the planning director for the city of Milpitas. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. As you can see on your screen, we have a picture of our beautiful new transit center with BART service. And the program that you'll be hearing tonight is intended to provide what is called first mile and last mile connections, both to the transit center as well as the town center, the city where City Hall is located, as well as our light rail stations. And our principal planner, Jay Lee, who is the project manager, as Elaine mentioned, is here tonight to present some of the details of this exciting new program. We were hoping to have it up and running, but we felt that it was, we've been waiting for the COVID pandemic to subside, and so the transit ridership would somewhat recover. It didn't seem wise to start a pilot project in the middle of a pandemic when transit ridership was down. So I think we're nearing the time when the project can kick off. So the timing is good, and we're very excited to share this program with all of you tonight. Jay.
All right, good evening, commissioners. Thank you, Elaine, for reiterating that strong connection between transportation and greenhouse gas emissions and just sustainability in general. And thank you, Ned, for the introduction, a little bit about the project. For my presentation outline, I will provide a little more context regarding the grant program from VTA that's funding this project, and then go over the project overview, then go over in a little bit more detail the service parameters and operations, then cover the ridership and cost estimates, then go over the project schedule and the next steps. And there'll be time for comments and questions. Next slide, please. So this is the VTA's 2016 Measure B grant program. It's funding this project, and it is a 30-year half-cent countywide sales tax to enhance transit, highways, expressways, and active transportation. The Transit Operations Program, which is a subset of this larger Measure B grant program, also has a portion dedicated to innovative transit service models. So that was really a big part of our application, which we submitted on December 7th, 2020. The application really highlighted how this is an innovative project that is unique, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on why it's unique. But in order to submit the application to VTA, a lot of collaboration between the city manager's office, engineering, planning. So it was just a true team effort. And to our delight, on March 4th, 2021, the VTA board approved the VTA staff's recommended projects, one of which was our project. It actually scored the highest amongst all the applications, so we're proud to mention that. And the grant award was for a little more than $1 million, $1,084,732, which is the full amount that we requested. And the timeline is a 12-month pilot program. Next slide, please. And I guess before going on, I do want to clarify this pilot program is intended to help us understand how effective, how effective the service would be, and to see how, to see whether it's viable for the future. And, there may be some long-term benefits when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions if we're able to continue this service. But we'll see in the next year, as soon as we start, how much ridership we can get, and I think our RideCo also has mentioned that there are ways to measure and calculate the greenhouse gas emission savings, which I think will be an interesting number. So just to go over the pillars of micro transit, these are the three kind of main benefits. Provides good coverage, expansive coverage, it's convenient, and it's cost effective. I'll go into some of these benefits a little bit more later, but I do want to kind of explain the gist of the program. We're using a hub and spoke model. So next slide, please. Actually, yeah, so the map will clarify better, but before I get further, I do want to kind of explain first what this program is. And it's a cross, think of it as a cross between Uber and Lyft, like a ride-hailing service, a traditional ride-hailing service, and a more traditional shuttle program. So it has the convenience and flexibility of a ride-hailing service, right? It has virtual stops, you can call it anywhere, but it also combines that with the capacity and the cost effectiveness and the affordability of a traditional shuttle service. So, these we're using minivans, which are a little bit larger, and they also have 3 of the minivans will also be ADA accessible. So, it's really the goal of the program is not just to move people, but to really target the transit dependent population, so to speak. And some of the project goals, first, what is this? As I mentioned, it's a micro transit service, but the way that we like to name it or frame it is an innovative first and last mile solution. So we didn't intend this program to necessarily replace transit. It's actually meant to be complementary to transit, because Milpitas already has great transit service, right? Like the BAR station, VTA's light rail lines, bus lines. Milpitas is fortunate to be well served. And what we're trying to do is make sure that our residents and employees are able to really utilize the existing transit services. Because if you think about it, right, if you ever thought about taking public transit, but some people unfortunately don't live that close to a public transit stop. So let's say you're 15, 20 minutes away, you'd have to either drive there or walk there or maybe ride a bike or even take a bus. But we're hoping that this service will bridge that gap where people can easily take a ride from their home to the transit stop, go to work, for example, come back, and then take another ride from the transit stop back to their home. So it's really fulfilling that first and last mile, which ends up in many situations being problematic and discouraging people from taking transit. And ultimately, it's to support and complement the existing transit, as I mentioned. And who is it for? Milpitas' residents, employees, visitors. So anybody who passes through Milpitas or stays in Milpitas, And then also vulnerable and disadvantaged populations, including the youth, elderly, low income, disabled. That was a big part of our application. And Milpitas does have a significant transit dependent population. So I think that's what helped us score a little bit better as well. So there is a need. And the why is to provide a flexible, convenient transportation option, also a balanced multimodal transportation network, and ultimately reduce greenhouse emissions, which is a big goal of the state, as you all know, and it's trickling down to the local level. And we think that this is one of the key ways that we can really reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. Next slide, please. So project overview, I think the map kind of illustrates what I was talking about earlier. We call it a hub and spoke model because the hubs are the existing transit centers or areas where popular areas where people would like to go. So RideCo with the city, we have selected 4 strategic areas, and I'll go into each one real briefly, but these are the hubs. And then all the smaller dots that you see there are the virtual stops. We will have 100 plus throughout the city, so we can get good coverage. So anybody can, hail a shuttle, go to a virtual stop nearby, hopefully less than 5 minutes away, and then not have to wait more than 15 minutes, and then be able to take a quick ride to an existing transit stop and go wherever they need to go. So these are carefully chosen, but the good news is that they are also configurable, meaning as we move the program along and find out more about where the demand is, we can also reconfigure these stops. Next slide, please. So again, the hub and spoke model, and these are the 4 hubs. You have your City Hall hub, and then going from west to east, you have your Alder Station hub, which connects to the VTA light rail line. We have the Metro Center hub, which connects the BART and the VTA light rail line. Actually, no, that's the Milpitas Transit Center. The Metro Hub Center is close to the Great Mall, which is a regional destination within our city. So, these were strategically chosen. And then some of the shaded areas are some of our employment areas. So you kind of see how, you can imagine how someone can get to these employment areas and vice versa. And again, it's a 1-year pilot program. Next slide, please. And we will be using 7 minivans with 3 of them with ADA access. And this is kind of another, I think, potential wrinkle that I'd like to mention. Currently, there aren't many EV transit providers, but we expect that to grow. And that's something that we could explore if this pilot program could be extended in partnership with VTA. There are some out there right now. There just aren't many. So in the future, if we're able to, have more EV transit operation providers, there could be further greenhouse gas emission savings, not just by reducing the vehicle miles traveled, reducing how many people drive on their own, but also just the vehicles, the 7 vehicles themselves, or however many we end up having, would not be really emitting many GHG emissions. So there's that potential there. Also, we do want to provide 12 hours of service a day, 5 days a week, with a maximum of 10 to 15 minimum wait times. This is where you get at the convenience aspect of the service. And also, it will be affordable. It'll be $2.50 for everybody, and then $1 for the youth, low income, and disabled. So if you compare it to some of the other services out there, it's relatively affordable, very convenient, and has great coverage. This is Alder Station. We see that connecting obviously to the VTL light rail line and then to the industrial parks on the west side of our city. Definitely a last mile solution for getting to the industrial parks nearby. Next slide, please. Our second hub, the Great Mall light rail area, the Metro Center hub, where we're planning for transit-oriented development through the Metro plan, which I'm sure you all have heard of. But we think this will complement the plan and complement all our planning efforts by having a hub here. Also a first mile solution, a first mile solution to get to ride a line to go to the place of work or anywhere else. And also even point-to-point travel for anyone who wants to go from a residence straight to the Great Mall. Next slide, please. The Milpitas Transit Center, we have the light rail line and the BART station, and from there you can go to many places. And we really do think that this will reduce the load on the adjacent parking garage. So just a very obvious location here. Next slide, please. And then we have, of course, City Hall Town Center. we have our city hall, with our employees, but we also have the town center and many of our retail, commercial shopping centers in the area. So just another convenient way to get to a neighborhood shopping center for our residents. You could either, another point-to-point option going from a home to the shopping center and going straight back. And we do think that this location will generate the bulk of the midday trips, whereas the other locations may emphasize the peak AM and PM hours. Next slide. So those are our 4 hubs, and to go over the ridership and cost estimates a little bit, the total budget. So the grant amount that we received is $1,084,732.80. The total budget is a little more than 1.35 million. We did offer a local match of 20%, but the good news is that we actually have $20,000 of developer funds available for a future shuttle program. And this qualifies for that. So we do plan on using $20,000 from developer funds from a specific development project. So really just leaves a remainder of a little more than $71,000. And even with the most conservative estimate of ridership, we expect to recover fares at the amount of $74,400 over the life of the program. Of course, if it's a moderate, if we get moderate ridership or even high ridership, the fare recovery will be higher, and we'd actually be having a net surplus, which we can put back into the program to extend it beyond the 12 years. So no cost to the city, which I think is great news for all of us. And then the project timeline, as Ned mentioned earlier, we are still working on the contract. We do hope to take it to the VTA contract for the grant and also our contract with RIDECO. We do hope to take it to council in the next couple of months and hopefully start the service in the summer sometime, which I think works out well from a timing perspective. With COVID going on, hopefully the people's comfort with riding transit will increase in the next few months, and especially during the summertime. And then, in the fall, we'll have some of our, students returning to go back to school. So we do think the timing actually works out. It shouldn't take too long to launch. Of course, we're going to have to develop and finalize a marketing plan, work with VTA to make sure that, our residents and everyone is aware of the service, and to set up the platform and to train staff and, to really ramp it up to its capacity. So that's a little bit about the project timeline. And next slide, please. So this concludes my presentation. I know a lot of it was focused on the transportation details, but just to bring it all back, we are really excited because in the end, we do know that this is one step and one, measure or one part of our toolbox out of many things that we can do to essentially encourage our residents to move away from single occupant vehicles and to go into other modes of transportation, whether it's active transportation, transit service, and even microtransit like this. It's kind of a niche subject, but we do think that this fulfills a need, and really there's a synergy, right? If we have good development around transit and we improve all of our transit services, we hope that this will all have a synergistic effect and hopefully reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So that concludes my presentation. Ned and I are available for any comments and questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you, Ned. That was very informative. Do we have any questions at this point? Yes, Commissioner Hogg, you've raised your hand.
Yeah, I have a question. How much of a loss do we intend to run at every year with this service? How much of the taxpayer is going to be on the hook for covering this service?
That's a great question. It's hard to give specifics, but we obviously, if there are any grant programs that come up in the future, this is something that we definitely would pursue, these grant programs, and also because there are a lot of funds that trickle down from the federal government all the way down to us. And then VTA, if it works well, it could be something that VTA could be at least a partner in and potentially even take over. So it's actually for VTA as well, for them to see how well it works and to see if they have interest in helping us run this shuttle program.
Yes, Jay, and I think on your one slide, you did show that between the grant funds and the developer fee contribution and the anticipated revenue from the fees, we're actually looking at potentially being cost neutral to the city. Correct. So no
Yes.
Milpitas funds to augment the pilot.
Definitely for this year. But I mean, we have to note that the Measure B was a half-cent tax. But in terms of Milpitas, it's we may actually come out with some money left over, but we will put it back into the program. I think maybe Commissioner Hogg was thinking about the future years, and maybe that's where VTA could step in, and we can definitely partner with them. But we'll see how well this works.
Thank you. I do have a question, and that's regarding, can you describe what the intended user interface will look like in order to book a ride share?
I don't know. I mean, we could go on the Rideco website, and they do have their platform. I think we can get a sense of what it looks like. You can download the app, but once it's set up for Milpitas in particular, I think we do have some control over how we customize it. But in general, it'll be through an app. So like similar to Uber or Lyft, it should be very convenient and easy to use.
Okay, so would someone request a ride? Can they schedule it ahead of time, or do they have to be on their way to the pickup point, or like how much notice is needed?
You could schedule it ahead of time, but at the same time, I think the idea is to not have residents wait more than 10 to 15 minutes. So if you were able to call for a ride, 15 minutes, 20 minutes out, we don't expect anyone to have to wait any extra.
Okay, but if you wanted to schedule it like for the next day, you could do that?
That's a great question. I'm not sure how far in advance, although I do know that you can schedule it, but I don't know exactly like how many days in advance you could schedule it.
Okay, that would be interesting because some people know a day ahead of time that they'll need to get from point A to point B. And if enough people know that, then you can then look at changing the pattern that's being driven on that day or whatever. And that actually brings me to my next question. The driving routes, are they dynamically changed according to what requests come in?
Yes, they have proprietary software that allows them in real time to figure out what the fastest route would be. So yeah, it really does a lot of the work, and it figures out which way they should be going.
Okay, so we won't have the situation where we see buses driving their normal route empty, right? So we won't have empty vans going out. They only go out when they're needed.
We do have a minimum 6 vehicle usage, so which makes sense for the transit provider because for them to partner in this program, if for example, let's say ridership isn't where it needs to be, especially in the beginning, and only one car is going around, they wouldn't really get much revenue, based off of what they're committing to. So we did put in a 6 vehicle limit, but that's part of the pilot program. I think naturally there will be, especially in the beginning when it's ramping up, you may see some vans going around without full ridership, but I think it's kind of the whole chicken and egg question, right? Like we have to kind of put it out there for it to be used. But at the same time, if we do that, there will be situations like that where it may not be used initially. So it's what the pilot program is for.
Yes, I definitely understand that the pilot program is to test out the idea. But I wanted to know, even after the pilot program, when hopefully the ridership is high enough to keep all of the vehicles fully engaged and needed on the road. I just wanted to know, what that flexibility is, because sometimes there could be a lull at a certain hour of the day. So,
Definitely.
does it make, can the booking system, and I'm sorry, what was the booking system called?
Rideco?
Rideco. And, does Rideco, is that intelligent enough to say, hey, actually, instead of the full fleet being out there, we can take one or two offline, and, give those drivers an extended break, and not have, and have the other vehicles pick up the load for those that are not needed.
Yes, we are actually doing that to some extent. So during the off-peak hours, we'll bring it down to 6, which isn't a lot. But I think beyond the pilot program, like you were mentioning, I'm sure there will be more flexibility, whether during the peak periods, you need more than 7. And then during the off periods, it can go down as much as needed. I think it would just help the transit provider if it was more than a pilot program. But because of the pilot program, we have some limited flexibility. But that's a great point, and that's something we can communicate and look into.
Okay. Commissioner Hogg, you've got your hand raised.
Quick question. Any idea what the hours of operation are going to be for this
It'll be
program?
12 hours a day. So I believe 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
So, okay. I don't know what what hours BART runs and what hours VTA runs, but I would think that they probably should correspond to the hours that the major public transportation is running at. Would that make sense?
The morning we can definitely do that, and then also when most people are coming back from work. In an ideal world, it would be nice to have it run as late as some of the other transit services do, but it wouldn't be as efficient, I think, because not as many people travel that late, and it would just cost a lot more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lingle, you have a question?
Yes, let's see. Okay, so you described this as a mix between, Uber and VTA, but it's kind of point to point. It's hub to, like you say, spokes, but it is not out to a home, right? Somebody would have to walk from their home to one of the spokes. Is that correct?
Yes, but
Okay.
the way we would try to put in, I think there are at least 100 stops, so we're hoping that it would, and
Yeah,
then they
it's
could
not-
adjust depending on ridership, but we wouldn't want people to walk more than 5 minutes, because that dramatically decreases the convenience of taking the service.
You bet. But it is still point to point, and so you're not picking up multiple people like a bus would. It would be, the individual call and then drop them off, at one of the hubs, right?
But no, it actually could serve more people if you're going somewhere and there's another call. So, it's
I see.
you can have more than one person in each vehicle.
Okay, all right. Let's see. On the financial page, there's you mentioned developer funds. You said 20,000, but it says here 200.
My apologies, 200,000.
Was 200. And that, okay. Those are developer funds, so therefore it would be funding expansion or just covering costs.
So I believe it was an industrial project off of McCarthy where we through the process we were able to implement a condition of approval where they agreed to put in $200,000 of funds to provide that for the city to use for a future shuttle program. And this shuttle program is now, the one that we're trying to implement. So we have those $200,000 available for this project. So it isn't necessarily for expansion. It's just to help pay for some of our own contribution to run this service.
Okay, cool. But that is, you say it's available, so it is not actually exercised, in this situation. You're writing off of the grant itself, right? For the pilot.
Yes, we have the money and we haven't used it yet, but we will use it.
Another question is, on the pilot, you at one of the first slides, you said that it is a 12-month term, and the term or the thing was granted in 2021 March. When does the term start?
It starts as soon as the service starts, because
Okay.
the 12 months is based off of the cost of operating. So
Got it. Great. let's see. And I assume that you verify, this is a Milpitas resident because of simply the location, right, of pickup.
Mhm.
It could be that, somebody from Sunnyvale is visiting a friend and they want to go shopping. And so they can call up from their friend's place and just use the service as well.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Nice and easy. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions,
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Lingle. I have one additional question. Say if I wanted to get a ride from whatever the closest pickup spot to my home is over to, say, Milpitas High School, which is not one of the hubs, would I be able to book that?
No, you would not. So this is why we didn't intend it to replace transit or do point-to-point service. That was actually one of the hubs, and I think maybe Ned, you were the one who mentioned that. It was definitely one of the hubs that we thought of, potential hubs. But yes, so you could take it to a public transit stop, which could take you then to the high school.
Okay, and that's based on the high school being on a regular public transit route?
Yes.
Okay, so if I wanted to go visit a friend who is on the other side of Milpitas, I would not be able to book a ride from the closest pickup point of my home to the closest pickup point to her home.
Not directly. You'd have to go through a hub first. So technically you could get to a hub and then go from the hub to your friend's house. And I understand this may sound inconvenient, but it's really, this is the hub and spoke model is really what made our application innovative.
Well,
The
I
program
can
itself.
understand going through a hub to
Mhm.
get there, but would I be able to book those two routes at the same time, or do I have to start my journey, get to a hub, and then book another leg to the other location?
I know that you'd have to book each leg separately, but I don't know the timing wise. I would assume you could, since you could schedule a little bit ahead of time. So you could do that, but you still have to book two separate trips.
Okay. And since I don't have full control over how long it's going to take me to get to the hub, then I would be at risk of missing my ride if it took longer than anticipated to get to that hub, to take the second leg.
Yeah, there would be a risk. But they did mention in their scope of work that their software, for whatever technological reason, has been very good about predicting how long it would take. So they have data, which I don't have off the top of my head, but they have really good data in terms of their reliability, which is kind of what separates them from other similar companies.
Okay. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just trying to understand how I would do that. And I imagine I would probably, hopefully a day ahead of time, book the first leg, get picked up, and then while that ride is heading towards the hub, then I would book my second leg, because then the time of arrival at the hub would be pretty well known by then.
Mhm.
Okay. And then, maybe wait 10 to 15 minutes at the hub to take the second bus or minivan. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Lingle, you have another question?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had my, take that down. There we go.
All righty. Well, that was very informative. Do we have any other questions for
Chair
this
Sexton.
particular program?
Chair Sexton, I was just going to make a
Oh,
quick comment. if I-
Yes, Ned.
Thank you. Just to provide a little more context, as Jay mentioned, the city is receiving a grant from VTA to develop this program. We're one of several cities in the area. I know Morgan Hill has a different model that they're using for their program. But it's because we have the transit center and the BART service and the light rail running through Milpitas that we're using the hub and spoke, or it was VTA liked that we were using the hub and spoke. I guess you could say they're experimenting broadly with these new types of transportation options. And my feeling is that they would, as you mentioned, we see buses going around all the time on their fixed route, and they're often empty, and it's very inefficient. So this offers the opportunity to wring greater efficiency out of the money that is being spent by all of us, our tax dollars, on public transit. And hopefully it'll be very successful. And whether it's hub and spoke or one of the other models that one of the other cities is using, I think, again, VTA is just looking at a variety of different ways of trying to use their resources more wisely. So we're happy to be part of that, and we're hoping that it's very successful.
Yes, thank you for that explanation. Councilmember Chua, you have a question?
Thank you, Chair. No, I just want to comment to thank Ned and Jay, because they have this tenacity and expertise in getting grants. I know I've been asking them, share your secrets. I mean, tell everybody in the other departments, they got grants for close to 400,000 for the ADU corner that is up and running right now. And now this 1 point plus something dollars. I mean, that's a lot. So thank you so much. Thank you both.
Good job. And thank you very much for working on this most difficult problem of the first and last mile to fully utilize transit. That really is the key to getting people out of their cars. So thank you very much. And let's go ahead. Oh, sorry.
One more.
Commissioner Lingle.
One more thing. Let's see, is there any kind of a plan for a tie between our Milpitas app and the RideCo? Is there any plans to tie into that app? That's a nice app.
There are not, but I think we can think about ways to get the website or the app somehow linked to some of our Milpitas website, which we definitely will do.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Martinez, you have a question? Sorry, you're on mute. Could you unmute yourself?
Yes, I did have a question for metrics or analysis of this program. Will it be counting pickups ordered or converted into hub? And only bring that up because of the spoke to spoke kind of bypass model that was brought up that could possibly happen. Are we just counting calls for pickup or conversions to the hub?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know in the application we talked about estimating ridership or just knowing the ridership, but beyond that, I don't know at the moment, but I could find out.
Thank you. And thank you for this program. It sounds excellent, actually.
Right. So I believe that concludes our discussion of this topic. So thank you very much, Ned. Thank you, Jay, for coming to our meeting tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I'd like to move on to our next business item, which is Earth Day 2022 planning. And last month we had a discussion, but it was since we lacked a quorum, we weren't able to have a formal meeting. Elaine, is there any way to I don't know what the term is, is there any way to read those informal meeting notes into this meeting and formalize it, since you provided the discussion description with today's agenda?
Yes, we can kind of wrap last meeting's informal conversation with today's discussion, just to kind of get everything down and consolidated in the minutes. So I just started sharing my screen. Oh, Commissioner Martinez, you have your hand up? Nope. Okay. So, yes, I think I did include the informal notes with the email that went out to the commissioners that kind of summarized what was discussed by those who were on the meeting last month. And then I summarized some more. We as city staff have done a little bit more planning and did need to do some date changes. And so what I'm showing in the table is the most current kind of tentative schedule of activities for Earth Month. We are looking to have a city council resolution for Earth Month and Arbor Day at the April 19th, 2022 council meeting. We are looking at planning a water efficient landscape class, which will be virtual kind of sometime leading up to Earth Day. As a reminder, Earth Day is actually April 22nd. Our resource fair and solar battery microgrid celebration event is now going to be April 23rd, the day after Earth Day. And this will be in the senior center parking lot under the new solar canopies. Arbor Day actually rounds out April, is April 29th, and we're looking at planning also a volunteer tree planting event, potentially at Brown Park on April 30th. What the commission had talked about last time for potential exhibitors and as component of the resource fair for Earth Day, the commission would staff a table with the smart energy strip and demonstration or education and giveaway. We've invited Silicon Valley Clean Energy, Milpitas Sanitation will be at a table. I believe we talked about having an ADU resource table. We'll have water conservation information. We'll have solid waste information and potentially litter pickup kits available and resources. And then the other groups we will look to invite are the master composters, the Sunwork organization, energy efficiency through the Bay Area Regional Energy Network. I believe somebody suggested inviting the Green Thumb Gardening Club to do some sort of planting activity. We'll look to invite Valley Water, Engie, who is our general contractor on the energy and water efficiency projects, will also be part of this celebration for the solar and the battery microgrid project. We're going to ask them to do some walking tours so folks can learn about the solar panels, how much power they're providing, and then also do some tours of the battery system that will be supporting both the senior center and the community center. We've talked about inviting school clubs and environmental groups. We can use some help identifying contacts and reaching out to them, and then looking at potentially inviting some plant-based food options as well. So I think that kind of summarized everything that was discussed last time, and then also incorporate some more city staff planning into the event. And then we're going to continue to meet and plan over the next, 2 months. 2 months until Earth Day.
It's coming fast.
It is coming fast.
Yes.
I'm in denial that it's almost the end of February.
This year has it's moving very quickly. I would make a recommendation to also add the master gardeners. So you've got here the master composter. So the program is actually the composting education program. And then a separate program is the master gardeners of Santa Clara County.
Great.
Because if one group can't make it, hopefully the other group can.
Okay. And Chair Sexton, do you have contacts with both of those?
I can certainly send you the person, the UCCE person who you can put that request in.
Thank you.
Yes, for both organizations.
Thank you.
All right. And I would like to report that Councilmember Chua was kind enough to put me in touch with the Green Thumb Gardening Club. And so I did speak with the president, Myrna Marshall, a week or two ago. And at that time, the date that I had was April 16th. And so she agreed to April 16th. It may not be a problem to change it to the next Saturday, but I'll definitely need to check on that again.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Any
see.
comments? Sorry, Councilmember Chua had her hand up, and then I'll get to you, Commissioner Lingle.
Thank you, Chair. With the presentation, I would, maybe we should probably add the Milpitas on-demand shuttle program if it's up and running on April. So the people can test drive around for 5 minutes or so just to get a feel for what is this on-demand shuttle program.
Councilmember Chua, I believe I heard that the pilot program would start perhaps in the summertime.
Oh,
So I don't think it'll be up and running in April, but certainly the having some information available to say that it's coming in summer is a very good idea.
maybe they can have a table if it's not ready. Mhm.
Yes, I'll talk to Jay and Ned, Councilmember Chua. I think that's a great idea. Either if it's not up and running, at least, yeah, information or, you know, even one of the shuttles there so folks can preview it and start getting excited about it.
Oh, and also, I would like to add, you know, I sit on the Community Advisory Commission, and I brought up the Earth Day, and they're kind of thinking, the commissioners on that group, they were thinking of doing their cleanup day too. So I don't know, now that the dates are different, I have to run it by them. I'm gonna have them contact Chair Patty. See if we can incorporate what they're trying to do with Earth Day. Is that okay, Miss Chair? I mean, Chair Patty?
Certainly. Can you tell me if on the new date, were they planning to do a litter pickup, like, you know, designate from 9 a.m. in the morning till noon?
Yeah, they were thinking of doing either a cleanup of a mobile park or a park. So, okay, I'll let you speak with the chair of CAC, Community Advisory Commission.
Yes, I think that it probably wouldn't be good to have it occur on the same date.
Right,
Because,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
it'll be two different locations.
Oh, they might be able to do it on Sunday, the 24th, and we could have litter kits available for pickup on Saturday at the event. And then
Oh,
we can also cross promote.
that's true. So
Yes, that would
April
be very
24th,
good timing.
Sunday. I was trying to time it when we do the neighborhood pickup. You know, when we do the neighborhood pickup and then they do the cleanup. So we don't have to get the big bins. So they'll just put it, I mean, they'll just take it to the, you know, a school or something like that. What we did last year, you know, Elaine. Yeah, okay. I'll let them, I'll run it by them. In next week, I think I have a meeting with them. Okay, sounds good. It looks, the list is growing. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Elaine.
All right, Elaine, is there anything on this list that you need commissioners' assistance with?
Yes, if you guys, if there are folks who have contacts with school clubs and environmental groups and can volunteer to reach out to them to see if they may be interested in participating, leading an activity or doing something, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I've spoken with folks at Rancho and Sinnet. No specific activities going on there. But, I need to go back to, the clubs. I was talking to teachers, and so, but yeah, I'll keep at it.
If you can continue to work on that,
Sure.
that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be a great idea for those schools. Do
And
we
even
any-
have them, and even actually inviting them to come as a learning opportunity.
Oh, sure. You bet.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I'll take point just to to reach out to the various schools and see what's up.
Thank you. Commissioner Lin.
One last question though. Last time we were still in the midst of Omicron and all that. This is going to be in person. Is it firm?
Fingers crossed. Yes. Also, why we're planning something outdoors. And
Right.
yes,
Okay. All right.
fingers crossed.
We hope. It would be really disappointing to not have an in-person event for the third year in a row.
See,
Let's see. Do we
what-
have any? Go ahead, Commissioner Lingo.
Well, one more question. We were talking, last time about possibly doing, like an auto electric, electric cars,
Yes.
show and all that. Is that included in here?
Yes,
You want to do that?
we're still working out the logistics for that, but yeah, some sort of EV show
Yeah.
showcase or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, because we do have our city fleet of Leafs and Priuses, and then if the commissioners want to bring their personal vehicles and talk about them, that would be great too.
Cool. Okay. There. Thank you.
Do we have any contacts at Milpitas High School? And this is where I really would have liked to have someone on the commission from the school district.
Yeah, I do. Used to be on the PTA, thing over there. I'll reach out there.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you, Commissioner Lingo. Are there any other items on this list that you need help with, Elaine?
Not that comes to mind right now, but we'll reach out. I'll reach out individually to folks if there is. I think Councilmember Chua also has her hand raised.
Oh, yes. Thank you for
Thank
pointing
you,
that out.
Elaine. Thank you, Chair. I actually worked with a couple years ago, I actually worked with the Environmental Society of Milpitas High School, and they're very active with environmental issues and projects. So if someone could reach out to them, they would love to be part of this, I think.
Councilor Chua, do you have a contact? Because yeah.
I can get you the ones I have a meeting with the chambers, because there's a representative there, board. I can get you that number.
Okay.
Should I send it to you, Commissioner?
Yes, please.
Lingo?
Yeah, just
Okay.
drop me an email. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. That sounds good. Alrighty. So it looks like we've got a very good list here, and hopefully the majority of the organizations on this list will be able to participate. We're good. Elaine, I think you were a little bit concerned the last time we talked last month about space issues. Have you looked into what space is available under, I guess that this is the parking area by the senior center?
I have not had a chance to map out space, but I do have we do have a site walk scheduled with NG and some other folks that's helping with the celebration of the solar. So we'll map it out, and I'm sure things will fit. We just have to figure out exactly how, and we may have to block off the parking lot that day. So
Yes.
yeah, and we're working with recreation staff, Renee, Tegan, and Joshua and some other, and Ruby. So I think between all that city knowledge, we'll be able to make this all work.
Okay, I do know that right beside the parking lot for the senior center, there is a commercial shopping center, commercial parking lot right beside it, which I don't know if typically for events that's going on at the in that area, whether they would allow parking over there since the senior center parking will not be available.
Yeah, we'll work through all those logistics.
Okay, that's great. Okay, well, I think I think this is the last chance for any new ideas to be included. So get them in while you can, because given that we're only we're sort of 2 months out from having this event, then we have to sort of draw the line, get it firmed up and go with it. Thank you very much to Elaine for taking the ideas and forming them into a usable plan, and so hopefully we'll be able to firm up all of these. That sounds good. Any other discussion on this topic? All right.
Well, let's see, I think Commissioner Hogg was first.
Do we have an advertising budget for this event? Will we be able to put it out there to let people know that this fair is going on, or is it just going to be tacking up signs on Calaveras Boulevard? So
it's going to be all of that, Commissioner Hogg. No, we do have an advertising budget. We do a lot of flyers and then social media. So we'll be starting. Yeah, we'll be working up a publicity plan too, and then also sending flyers to you guys to spam all of your contacts and networks.
And hopefully get them out to the schools also.
Yes, yes.
That would be great. Oh, I do have one update regarding the proposed, I guess, Councilmember Chua's request to have a sort of a energy saving competition amongst the commissioners. I spoke with the Santa Clara County Library System, and they actually still have the power meters. They look like this. So it used to be in the online catalog for the library that you could, find just a single one of these. And I think they had a total of like maybe close to 80 throughout the whole county. And they confirmed for me that the Milpitas Library has, I think, about 16 of these. And they couldn't explain why it wasn't showing in the catalog right now. But they said that if anyone wants to borrow one of these, to just ask for it at the desk, at the library desk, and they'll be able to provide it. So people that want to, we were talking about the difficulty for 3 people on each of the 10 commissions in Milpitas. So that's like 30 people wanting to borrow the do-it-yourself home energy saving toolkit, and that it might be difficult for that toolkit. I think the library has maybe 3 or 4 of those, and so it's hard to share it when you have 30 people wanting to borrow it. So the toolkit isn't necessary. They just need this particular item, which is a power meter. And so I think that the library should be able to accommodate multiple requests. And if the 16 that they have at the Milpitas location isn't enough. I think they can draw from other, and they're used to, of course, sending books back and forth between all the different library locations. So I think that takes care of one of the issues for that. And Elaine, you were trying to obtain the power strips.
Yes, I'm still working on that. So I will give you an update via email once I have a delivery date. from the
Okay,
vendor.
that sounds good. All right, so we're moving ahead. We're not quite there ready yet. And I was also thinking about putting together a draft of a scoring sheet where each person would write the information as to what they've done to reduce their energy use, and that would then the 3 representatives from each commission then would add their 3 scorecards together to get the score for that particular commission. So I'll put a draft together and send that to you. Commissioner Lingle, you have a question? Your hand is up.
Let's see. Well, I'll wait for the rules of the competition. I'm not quite following, but okay.
And this is in the reason that we're talking about this right now is this is sort of heading towards what we want to do for the Earth Day table for the commission, the energy and environmental sustainability table on Earth Day. This is leading up to that.
Cool. Let's see. I had one more, possible topic for this great, list of activities and invites. Again, there's a lot of activity, clean energy, green, green companies, clean companies, around the Bay Area. Are we doing anything to reach out to them at all? Do we want to? I don't know if there's any, actual, any companies like that here in Milpitas. But this is a chance to at least, allow them to, showcase their capabilities, as well. So is there like a business or, any kind of a business, oriented invite list? That.
It's a good question. I'm not aware of all of the businesses that are located in Milpitas.
Yeah, I can reach out to Alex Andrade, our economic development director, and see if he has any connections to local green businesses that might want to showcase. I think kind of where I start to hesitate from leaning towards too many businesses is we tend to not want to turn this into a sales pitch at our residents and still be more informational. So that's my only one caveat, but I'll see if there's green businesses to showcase kind of what they make and what they develop, and we'll see.
Yep. One other reminder that we talked about last time was having those, oh boy, what do they call those? The
QR codes.
QR codes, yes. Getting ready for, those kinds of things at the kiosks, just for, extra reading, just a reminder in there.
Yes, that would be great for all of the tables to, have their QR code nice and big and easy to read so that people can use their smartphone to capture the QR code and pull up that organization's website.
Okay, great. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions, commissioners? Okay, then let's move on to, we've finished with our business items. Do we have any city liaison reports to hear?
It's just thank you, Chair. It's going to be really brief. And I just got a text from one of the executive team. So instead of the gift, the sweatshirt with your name and commission, it's going to be a different one. So they don't know yet. They're going to select. So don't expect the t-shirts. It'll be something else. I just got that information just now. And also, if we can fix the page, the energy commission page on our city website, because I see Commissioner Lingo's picture under the name of former Commissioner Admana. Can we fix that, please? And I do want to shout out to Tony for helping me last week, right, Tony? Over at Hall Park and Gill Park for the picker bowlers. Tony was there, and he was with me meeting with the picker bowlers. So hopefully that pilot project will go on as scheduled. And I also want to thank and Elaine. I just want to thank Elaine for oh, I forgot, big one. When I look at the ARPA request, I realized there's no entry for climate change, for environmental sustainability or reduction of GHG. And so I requested to carve out $60,000. And we were supposed to discuss it last night, but for some unavoidable reason, because we're close to midnight, so we had to adjourn. But I want to thank Elaine for the write-up. It's write-up. So Elaine, you want to talk a little bit about that? That is really exciting.
Oh, yeah, the commission, as well as Chair Sexton, is familiar. It's a scaled down version of the proposal to create a Milpitas Sustainable Neighbor Demonstration Project, where we get volunteers from different living situations and provide technical support, coaching to help them, get on a path towards reducing their carbon footprint, electrifying their homes, as well as integrating water conservation measures and really connecting them to resources, rebates, providing a little bit of kind of grant funding towards their project as well, and then using them as showcases and creating video diaries that can inspire other Milpitas neighbors to take on similar actions.
And I also want to add that I'm going to use some of those funding I already contacted the schools, a couple of schools that would do the video for the what do you call that? For our vampire. We have to get a nice name for this thing.
We do.
Come up with a nice name for the vampire reduction. What is it? Whatever. I'll leave it up to you guys. So I have 2 enthusiastic schools that would love to do it. So that would be great. I want it to be funny, like funny, short, sweet thing. The energy strip. And that would be awesome. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much and welcome. This is the first time I've seen Commissioner Martinez, and I miss Commissioner Salian from last meeting. So great to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Chua. Great information. Elaine, do you have any staff information to share with us?
I do a couple of things. I will be forwarding an email from someone over at Valley Water. They wanted to invite all the commissioners to participate in kind of their revamped and refreshed virtual tour of the advanced purification facility. It's an hour-long virtual tour that talks about that facility and the efforts that facility is making towards helping us fight the drought. So I will forward that over to you all. In a separate email, I'll also share information on Silicon Valley Clean Energy's Empower short film contest, student short film contest, so that you guys can also help spread the word to any of your contacts at schools and in the community. As a reminder, we did have 3 students from Milpitas High School last year won in one of the categories. So it's a great opportunity. It is, I think the prizes are scholarships of up to $1,000 each, 2,000. It's actually
like
a pretty
20,000. Yeah, I mean,
20,000 total, but I think they
Right.
divided up amongst different winners in categories. So we'll get, if you can help spread the word, that would be tremendous. And I think we are also just executed the agreement with our city forest. So we will be launching the Lawn Busters program through our city forest that will help folks convert their lawns to drought friendly gardens for a nominal cost. That's one of the pilot programs that Councilmember Chua helped fund. And then we also are starting to promote and will continue to advertise the increased rebates we have for landscape conversions, rain water capture systems, as well as I think irrigation controllers. So those expanded rebates are now available through the city and Valley Water. So they're bigger than ever. And so if you guys want to, this is a good time to take advantage of those.
Yep. Well, maybe you said that. What was I?
And Tony, anything else?
Commissioner Lingle. Oh, sorry, Tony, you were going to say
No,
something?
just saying that Elaine got it all covered. Thanks.
Okay. Good job, Elaine. Commissioner Lingle.
Well, let's see. I wanted to go back to the water purification tour and all that. That'd be great. I would love to, participate or listen in. But it reminded me, is there? So I live over near Rancho, Milpitas Junior High, and with the I can't remember which property tax thing that went through, but we got an infusion of infrastructure, funds, and we have a new track, and the track is absolutely beautiful. It is fantastic. It is green with grass and all that. But I fear that this whole thing is actually watered by potable water, and so it just reminds me, it would be good to know where we are on funding the new pipes for reclaimed water out to the parks and out to the schools. So is there any I don't know, scheduled update along those lines?
Tony reaching to unmute, so I'm going to let him take this one.
Yeah, so thank you. A great question there, Commissioner Lingle, and it's a program that we've actually been working on and off, because the facility that we do have down where we get our water, our recycled water from, is limited on its supply they can provide. So we're actually at our capacity for what we're allotted for in Milpitas. However, that hasn't stopped us from, when we get development projects to put in place, recycle water lines. So it all depends on what area in the city that we're in. Sometimes we have the main lines in those areas, sometimes we don't. And that really is what the kicker is. So based on the school, I'm not familiar exactly geographically where the school is and where the lines are, but we can certainly look into that and bring back that information to the team. But it is something that I know council had approved projects for recycle water in the past. We tried to get grants for those to help accelerate those and move those forward. And
just tough competition out there from other cities and other agencies that just swoop up those monies. So that's really been a challenge.
Well, I wonder if there's, I know there's like, with the new infrastructure funding, I wonder if this would qualify as an infrastructural request, and maybe there's funding coming from that bill. The government, U.S. Federal, funding. So just a thought, but okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. We'll look into this further.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other announcements or liaison reports that we need to cover? All right, well, thank you very much for your attention tonight. Appreciate everyone showing up, and look forward to our next meeting. And I will call for adjournment, and everyone have a very nice evening. And let's continue working on the Earth Day plans. We got to move those ahead. Bye now.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.